Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So I'm back today with another video, and this was something that actually just came to me. Sometimes when you think about video topics, what to get on your channel and actually talk about. But what I want to talk about in this video, and the title of this video would be independence starts at a very young age. And independence starts at a very young age, and what that basically means is that we have to teach children when they're young what is right, what is wrong, and also how to be independent. So we usually start off by teaching children when they're young the little things, when it comes to kind of picking up after themselves, or when it comes to cleaning up after themselves. And I know that when I was growing up, and I was born in the 80s, back in the 80s and 70s and 90s and things like that, and even earlier then the 70s, that we was basically kind of, a lot of us who was raised up in that era was kind of raised up like old school. So I was raised up where my parents were doing very little for us. We were raised up where we had dinner cooked for us every night, every day when we would come home from school, like a home cooked meal. So like nowadays, we have a lot of eating out and going to the restaurants and hardly little to no cooking. I know that many of us was being raised that it was like going to McDonald's or going to Taco Bell was like once in a blue moon, but when we did go, it was like more of like a treat. We didn't eat out. I mean, we rarely ate out. My mom cooked pretty much every single day. We were also raised up being taught to be independent, to take care of ourselves, to look after ourselves. I mean, I was in, like, I want to say middle school, doing laundry. I'm talking about like washing all the clothes in the house. I was in middle school cooking for myself, going to the store and even shopping, and going to the mall and going shopping by myself and for myself. Even when I was like 14, my first year in high school, I actually became a part of this program that helped students get like a work permit, where you're able to go out and get a job. And at the age of 14 all the way through after I graduated high school, I was working. And then I was working a job after school up until like 6 or 7 o'clock, and then on the weekends I was pretty much working all day. But I was working a part-time job, but I was still expected to even contribute to the household. Like my mom had me paying like paying like the cable bill. Sometimes she would ask me if I had any money to put onto the light bill. So even at a very young age, working that young, I even learned how to contribute to a household, even when it came to like paying bills. You know what I'm saying? And all of that. And the reason it's good for us to learn how to be independent and what it actually means to contribute to a household, and to take kind of care of ourselves and pick up after ourselves, because it makes it a lot easier. So like when we get older and when we actually reach that young adult age, it's like we're good and ready now to like move out of the house and kind of move out on our own, and we know what it takes to actually live out on our own and take care of ourselves and pay our bills and things of that. So when it came to my brothers and sisters, it wasn't like my mom was like on us about, when are you going to move out? You too old to still be living at home. You too grown to still be living at home. No, by the time we got 18 or 19 years old, all of us was out of the house. We were out of the house, moved out in our own place, and we were working and paying our own bills and all. And I believe that a lot of what we were able to do at even in our young adult age was because we were taught to be independent, and we were taught to take care of ourselves and even contribute to a household at a very young age. My dad taught me my dad and my mom taught me independency. They taught me how to be responsible. My dad was like, girl, make sure you pay your bills. I mean, he always would say that to me and speak that to me. Make sure, you pay your bills, and make sure you're not out here racking up a whole lot of bills and you're not able to pay your bills. And my dad was such a hard worker, and he went and he worked a job pretty much every day, and that's how I believe the reason why I do have a strong work ethic is because I got that from my father. And my mom, she spent so much time at home taking care of the home and things of that. And when it came to even name brand, like when we were growing up, we didn't know what really we didn't wear name brand stuff. Like, nowadays we see more and more of the name brands, and we see more of the Jordans and the Nikes and so much of the name brand. But we was not raised up on name brand. Like I got my first pair of Nikes when I started working my first job at the age of 14. And when I got my first paycheck, I went to the mall and I had like a $90 check, but I spent like $45 on a pair of Nikes. So I didn't start wearing Nikes until I was able to go out and buy them for myself because I was working a job. But my mom made sure we had decent clothes. And she made sure we had pretty decent shoes on our feet. But when it came to name brand, we wasn't into all of the name brand and all of these different expensive brands and things of that. We wasn't into the eating out at the restaurant every day. My mom cooked a home cooked meal every day. And the reason why we were able, see, when it starts at a young age, and when you do actually get to that young adult age, you'll be pretty much kind of your parents won't really have to worry about you when you go out there and get out on your own, is because you were taught how to be independent. You were taught how to take care of yourself at a very young age. And what I realized too, that this is something that also, like, it has to be continuous, that you have to continuously teach children at a very young age how to be independent. Like, for example, sometimes when we're dealing with very young children, I say maybe toddler age, and a child may have a sippy cup, and children like to throw things, so a child may take their sippy cup and they may drink their sippy cup and then they throw it on the floor. So then the parent may come behind that child and ask that child to pick up their sippy cup and put it on the table, because that parent understands that the cup doesn't go on the floor, it goes on the table. And the more that parent reinforces, don't throw your sippy cup on the floor, it goes on the table, that child will start to understand and pick up on that and say, oh no, I can't throw my cup on the floor, it goes on the table. So it's the little things like that, and that we have to constantly teach our children at a very young age, because it'll be easier for us as parents not to worry about our children when they go out there in the world, when they actually get on their own. You know what I'm saying? Like, they may not have everything in the paint, but they pretty much understand what it means to be independent, what it means to contribute and take care of a household, pay bills. Because like I said, I was working my first job, but I was paying the cable bill, I was helping out with the light bill, and stuff like that. When my mom needed me to go to the store and even buy groceries and things, sometimes she would give me money and stuff like that, but sometimes it wouldn't even be enough. So I wouldn't even ask whatever was on the list that my mom needed me to get, and if she gave me the money and there wasn't enough money to cover everything on that list that she had given me, I had to come out of pocket for that. But that really taught me, how to be independent and what it actually takes to live out on your own and pay bills. But the reason I wanted to talk about this video today is because when we teach our children how to be independent at a very young age, we won't have to be so worried and stressed out when they get older and when they get good and grown and they're still so irresponsible and they still don't even know how to be independent and they still good and grown at home and they can't even keep their bedroom clean. You know what I'm saying? And see, a lot in this day and age, a lot of children are so used to like everything being handed down to them and everything being done for them and everything being given to them that they don't have no clue that when they get out there in the real world, they don't really have the tools or the necessary tools, or they really don't know what to do because everything has always been done for them. You know what I'm saying? And it put more pressure, it puts more stress on the parent, because then we get to a place and we realize like, man, I really like ruined this child because now they're good and grown and they can't even get out here and take care of themselves, because everything has been given to them, everything has been handed down to them. And what I'm also seeing too, when it comes to us as parents with our children, we feel like instead of showing our children, it's easier for us to do it for them instead of showing them how to do it. But we can't keep doing that because they're gonna, and see, the thing about it is they have to know how to live on their own and take care of themselves and be able to take this thing called life, by force, and be able to say, I can do this, I got this, I'm gonna ride this thing out, I can be in this world and I can live life to the fullest and live a successful life. Like, I know how to be independent. I can take care of ourselves, because see, us as parents, we're not going to be here forever. You know what I'm saying? So at least we know that we have the confidence in our children and we trust our children that even when we leave this earth, that they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay. They're not going to fall apart because mama isn't there anymore to do everything for them and to clean up after them and to pick up after them and get on them about when are you going to move out of the house, and when are you going to get your own place, or when are you going to get a job, or when are you going to start keeping a job, or things of that. Because when I was growing up, it's like we were taught to do it, and that was it. Like, my mom and my dad wasn't up every minute and every second running to our rescue, trying to do it for us. When it was time to clean up the kitchen, you got up and you cleaned up the kitchen. And see, when I was being raised, a lot of us who was being raised at my time, because I'm an 80s baby, that we was raised up old school. Like, when we cleaned up the kitchen, it wasn't just washing dishes. Like, we had to scrub down the stove, we had to scrub down the oven, we had to clean out refrigerators, we had to take the garbage out, we had to sweep and mop floors. That was what it meant to clean up the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? When it was time to clean up the bathroom, when it was time to do laundry, we had to get up and we had to do our part. You know what I'm saying? And also, being raised up we did the chores, we did the cleaning, like mama, grandma, dad, they wasn't up doing all of that. We was getting up doing that. We had chores. But what I'm seeing nowadays, a lot of children don't even have chores, because a lot of us as parents, we're just doing everything. We're picking up after them. We're not showing them how to do things. And then a lot of times is when children get to a place where they're not taught how to be independent and pick up after themselves on a continuous basis, when we do try to talk to them and show them, they get upset, they get mad, they get an attitude, because it's like, well, you've been doing it all this time, you've been cleaning up, you've been picking up after me. And that's what, and the older they get, they start to realize that, and then they expect you as their parent or their guardian to do it for them all the time. But that's why it's so important to teach our children how to be independent at a young age, so when they get older, you won't have to worry about them. Like, man, I don't have to worry about him, I don't have to worry about her, like when it's time for them to really get out and get out on their own, then it'll be like, okay, I'm very proud of them because they learned that at a very young age. I've been in the early education field since 2010. So I've been an infant teacher, a toddler teacher, a preschool teacher, a Head Start teacher, and right now I'm an education coordinator, so I manage the program. So I'm in a leadership role, and even in the preschool classrooms, like even in the toddler classrooms, like those teachers are teaching children at even like a toddler age, like 2 years old, like before you can move on to a different learning area or a different learning center, you have to pick up the area that you were playing in. So that means everything has to go back where you found it at and where you got it at. So a lot of times, the teachers are not so much doing it for the children, but they're showing the children, okay, the blocks go here, the puzzles go there. Remember, we have to put everything back where it goes before. So, and then teachers are doing this on a continuous basis. This is not just like a one-time thing. So then eventually it clicks in the child's head that, oh, before I actually move on to a different learning area, I have to clean up, I have to put everything back, and that's the way of teaching children how to be independent. So when children are young and at home, they have their own area, their own play area. We teach them how to clean up and put things back where it goes instead of versus just doing it all for them. Because see, the thing about it is when we teach children at a young age, oh, it's okay to make a big mess because mama or an adult is going to just clean it all up. After a while, you get tired of that. After a while, you get tired. You get tired of just constantly having to clean up. So then you have to teach them, because see, when you teach them how to clean up and be independent, it makes it easier for you. And you're not stressed. You're not frustrated. You know what I'm saying? You're not upset and things like that. So it makes it easier, and it makes it easier, and it makes it more easier of a burden when we're teaching them how to clean up after themselves, pick up after themselves, and be independent. And even in the household with young children, it starts with their bedroom. Making sure your bedroom is intact, making sure your bedroom is in order. If you're sitting at the kitchen table and you're eating a sandwich and you have a paper plate, a paper towel, or you have a juice box, when you get done with all of that, you just don't leave it on the table. You teach them how to go throw that stuff away in the garbage. See, and it starts when they're little. It starts when they're 1, 2 years old in preschool. So then the more and more that they're taught this, they'll know exactly what it means to clean up after themselves. And then they'll start to even teach their own peers, like, hey, you got to start cleaning up after yourself. You got to pick things up and pick your toys up and keep your room clean. They'll start talking to their peers and teaching their peers how to be independent. It just makes it really easier on us as parents. And then when they grow up, because see, we have to understand that our children are not just going to be babies all the time, that they are going to grow up, and that they're going to have to learn how it is and what it takes to be a young adult, and what it actually takes to kind of be out there on their own. Because if they just get thrown out there and they have no clue on what to do or how to live their life, because they just wasn't taught that, and everything was always given to them and handed to them and done for them, it's going to make it really hard for us as parents. And we can't even trust like our child is going to be okay living on their own. You know what I'm saying? Because when it was time for like 18 and 19 years old, as soon as I graduated high school, I was out of my mom's house. I've been out on my own since I was 18, and I haven't returned. Now both of my parents are deceased, but before they passed away, when I moved out, when my siblings moved out, we never went back home. Like, we was out on our own, and the rest was history, but we were taught how to be able to live independently and what it took for us to do that, because it all started way back when we were young, But I know that times have changed, but I believe that just because times has changed doesn't mean that we're not supposed to be teaching our children how to be independent, to take care of themselves, to pick up after themselves, to clean up after themselves. And sometimes we think it's just easier for us to do it, but all we're doing is setting our children up to be out there and not even know what to do when it comes to taking care of an apartment, paying bills, budgeting, managing money, and things of that, and not get out there on their own and they don't know what to do, and then now they're moving back home with you and things of that, and then they're at home with you. You're on them because they're not cleaning up after themselves and they're grown. And so I believe that when children are taught independency at a young age, it may even cause them to be even more mature. You know what I'm saying? Where they're not constantly coming back to you and asking you for this and asking you for that. They know how to get out here and get a job and keep a job and work a job and kind of manage, their money and things of that. As parents, we're always going to help our children out. If they're in need of something, we always want to be able to help them out. But we don't want them out here working, taking their money, blowing all their money off. But then when it's time for them to actually pay something that's really important, they don't have the money to pay it because they blew all their money off, and now they're asking you. So we don't want our children, to just be out here on their own and they just get slaughtered, and they just get eaten up because they just don't know, or they don't have what they actually need to just live on their own. And then I know that sometimes a lot of us parents, we regret it. We regret it like, man, I really spoiled him. Now he's out here on his own and he don't even know what to do. I've really spoiled him that he's still living at home and don't have any plans on moving out or getting his own place. Like he's not even trying to move out and be on his own. And it's just us as parents, when we're just spoiling our kids and we're giving everything to them and we're doing everything for them. So it's like they have it good. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, mama doing everything for me, daddy doing everything for me. A lot of times it's really not the fathers. If it's children, when it comes to children or two-parent households, or when it comes to children and they have both of their parents in their life, but their parents may not be together. A lot of times it's not the fathers, it's really the mothers that are kind of babying the children and kind of doing everything for them, and spoiling them, and they wasn't taught to be independent and to do things on their own. And now we get frustrated because we're like, man, when are you going to actually move out of the house? When are you going to get a job? When are you going to start keeping a job? When are you going to start managing your money, saving money? You know what I'm saying? So independency starts at a very young age. It starts like we have to start teaching our children when they're very young. Teaching them right from wrong, teaching them how to be independent, teaching them how to pick up after themselves, teaching them how when you make a mess, that it's not for me to clean up your mess, that you have to clean up the mess that you've made. And even when we teach them about making messes and even cleaning up after their mess, that when they don't learn that at a very young age, when they get older, they'll think that it's okay to go out here and mess things up and get messy because mama is going to bail me out, but when they're taught that, no, I clean up my mess and this is my responsibility, that when they get older and when they go out here and start making messes, they'll be working to clean that up because they'll understand that's their responsibility. You know what I'm saying? And things of that. They're not going to be good and grown out here breaking the law, getting locked up, and then mama's always running down to the jailhouse bailing them out, so they're constantly making messes, and mama is, and they looking to mama to try to clean it up, and mama's always there bailing them out of jail and things of that, you know. So we don't want our children, you know, out there, you know, making messes and things out like that that's going to cost them their life, or even they're going to ruin their life, and then they're in the system and all of that. You know, so even when it comes to messes, that at a young age you clean up your mess. You know, you put all your toys back, you throw your garbage away, you keep your room clean, you know, and things like that. Teaching them the self-help and the self-care skills, you know, teaching them how to brush their teeth and wash their face and keep their body and stuff clean. You know, all of that starts at a very young age, and starts when they're little, and this is something that has to be ongoing, and this is something that has to be continuous. Like, we can't just show them this one time and expect for them to get it. It's something that has to, it's a process that just has to keep going and going and going and going. And as children get older, they'll start to learn new skills, you know, as they get older. They'll start to learn, you know, new skills and things of that when it comes to using like the microwave, or when it comes to start using, you know, the stove and the oven, start learning how to cook and things of that. And they'll learn that as they get older. So as they get older and as children go through different stages, just like us as adults, we learn new things and we learn new skills, you know. And I just wanted to get on here and just say that because we want our children to be successful when they get out here, and when they get or reach that adult age. We want them to be successful, and we want them to be able to get out here on their own and be able to take care of themselves, and that us as parents, we don't have to worry about them. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have to worry about our son or our daughter going out here getting on their own, and then we're like, okay, I don't know how long, you know, we're worried that, okay, the next week or the next month, they're going to be saying, Mama, I want to come back. I need to come back home. I need to come back home. I can't afford the rent, or I haven't paid my rent, and I need to come back home because I can't live out on my own, or whatever the case may be. We want them to be able to be successful and be able to live life and thrive in life, and not keep going backwards and keep going backwards, but stay on that path that's going to help them and that's going to support them in actually moving forward in life. We don't want our children back and forth. They're moving back and forth inside the house, outside of the house, back at home. You know, like I said, when we moved out of my mom's house, out of my father's home, like, that was it. We didn't go back. You know, that was it for me. When I turned 18 years old, when I graduated high school, I moved out, you know, and I was able to work. I was able, you know, to pay rent and pay bills and things like that, and be independent and things like that, because it all started when I was a very young age. Like, my parents wasn't up doing everything for us. They wasn't. They were teaching us how to do it, and it's like, you either learn how to do this and do this for yourself. And like, us growing up, a lot, like the children now, a lot of the things that they do when it comes to the parents is like they've gotten pretty bold. Like, some of the things that you hear these children saying to parents, we would have never thought about saying anything like that to. Like, some of the stuff, like raising your voice up at mama, I would have never thought about raising my voice up at my mom. Telling my mom no, I would have never thought about telling my mom no. Arguing with your parents, like, I would have never argued with my parent. Like, whatever my mom told us to do, like, sometimes we didn't always agree with it, but we never told her that we didn't want to do it. We never didn't get up and do it. We did whatever we were told to do, whatever we were asked to do. That's what we got up and did. Like, we wasn't talking about talking back to our parents. We wasn't telling our parents no. We wasn't getting loud and rude and disrespectful with our parents. And that is a lot of what you're seeing today when it comes to children, and things of that. Parenting has changed over the years. It's not, a lot of parenting now is a lot of loose parenting. It's not a whole lot of discipline or a whole lot of structure. You know what I'm saying, and things of that. But yes, our children need to be taught how to be respectful, and to honor their mother and to honor their father. And it's not okay for you to always say what you feel. You know what I'm saying? That's not always okay. You know what I'm saying? For you to just say whatever comes off, whatever you want to say off the top of your head. There was so many times growing up that we just bit our tongue. We wouldn't dare say nothing like that to mama. We wouldn't dare say nothing like that to my dad or to my grandma. We just bit our tongue and we did it. You know what I mean? So that's another thing our children have to be taught too, that you do what I'm asking you to do. I'm not asking you or telling you to do anything wrong or against your will, but I feel like if all of us live in the household, you need to contribute to the household. You know what I'm saying? So if I need you to clean up the kitchen, if I need you to vacuum the floor, if I need you to take out the garbage, if I need you to keep your room clean, that's what I need you to do, because we all live under the same roof and we all have to take care of this house together. So you don't feel like you're the only one cleaning up and taking care of the house. We all are. You know what I'm saying? So there's no need in you getting mad and upset because I'm asking you to contribute and to play your part and do your part when it comes to this household, because you live here too. And sometimes some children feel like, well, you need to do it all because you've been doing it all. Don't ask me to do anything. And that's why they get so mad and upset when we're asking them to do things as far as, cleaning up, doing laundry, fixing themselves food. They kind of expect the parent, especially, or the mama, to get up and just do that all the time and that it's okay. But when children learn that, when they learn that they don't have to do anything for themselves because mama is always going to do it for them all the time, well, one day they're going to be good and grown and they're still going to be looking to mama to do everything for them because they was never taught how to be independent. They weren't never taught how to take care of themselves, pick up after themselves, because mama has always did it for them. And that's why we get frustrated and we worry man, I'm really scared for him or her to get out there on their own because I've always done everything for them. So they really don't even know what it takes or what it actually means, or they don't even understand about taking care of a house or a home or paying bills or anything like that, because they were never taught that. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be able to teach our children. And see, it's easier, and the reason I say this too, I don't want to pass this up. See, it's easier to teach them when they're young versus when they start getting up there in age and then they're reaching that young adult age, and then you want to start teaching them and then you want to start showing them. It's going to be even more harder. Then it's going to be even harder now. But if this process was started at a very young age, that when they get to that young adult age, that they'll be okay, and you won't have to worry about them getting out there and being on their own. He got this, she got this, because they've been taught this when they were young, so they know what it takes. I've been teaching them and showing them, as they've gotten older and as they've been growing, I've been working with them, but it's hard when they start getting older, start getting up there teenager, young adult age, and then you want to start kind of showing them, when they've gotten so used to you doing everything for them. You know what I'm saying? Because then when they get out there on their own, it's like we want them to function. But if they get out there on their own, it's like they won't even be able to function, you know, because they've gotten so used to everything being handed to them, done for them, you know, and them not having to do anything. And we want our children to be successful. We don't want them out here failing, you know, in life. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to get on here and just say that independency starts at a very young age. It's hard to teach our children how to be, you know, independent when it's so locked in. That mama is going to do everything for me, that he or she is going to do everything for me and give me whatever I want and need, and cook for me and clean for me and just do everything for me and hand everything down to me. You know, a lot of times it's hard to kind of break loose from that when they've gotten so comfortable and so used at everything just being handed down to them, and them not being taught at a very young age continuously and ongoing how to be independent, how to take care of themselves, how to clean up, how to pick up after themselves. So until next time, you all take care, and you all be safe.